How's it going? You know, something I've really noticed a lot lately is there are a lot of incredible wood shops online, but most of those come with very large price tags. But not this one. You see, my family operates on a debt-free budget, so that means my woodworking business, everything in my shop, and everything we make works within that family-friendly budget. My name is Chris, and I own 23 Roses Woodworks, and this is my garage shop. Let me show you around. So this is like a standard two-car garage, about 20 by 20. This is a 70s house, so I don't have a third bay, but I do realize that I'm pretty fortunate to have two bays, a full size. I know a lot of people have to work with a one-car garage, so very blessed to have the room that I do have. But now that you've kind of seen a pan around, let's start with the heart of every wood shop. So this workbench, work table, I built several years ago, even before I had a thought about doing woodworking for a business or a side hustle or heck, even a hobby. I built it because I was doing a lot of home renovation stuff. I was helping friends with home renovations, and I needed a place to work. Now, you probably recognize this. It's a pretty common build that you see on YouTube a lot, and that's exactly where I got it from. And the miter saw used to go right here. So it held the table saw and the miter saw. Now, as I started getting into woodworking, I decided I needed more flat space on the top. So I did relocate the miter saw, but that's where it used to be. Now, one thing I want to do in the upcoming future here is putting more drawers, storage area, a little more organization down the bottom. Right now, it's kind of just a catch-all. It's where I throw all my scraps when I'm doing projects. It's also just housing my old drill press that I really don't use much, and just a plastic bin full of miscellaneous jigs and various other nonsense. So I do want to say I have an MDF top on here. Now, I know that's probably not the best thing in the world for a workbench, but it's worked well for me. Now, originally it wasn't MDF, but when my table saw died a year or so ago and I had to get a new one, it set a little different. And since I wanted the table saw to be flush, I need to add a little more height to it. So MDF was cheap, it was easily available, and it works just fine. So the first place I want to show you is the back wall of the garage shop. Now I do have a couple doors, so I've got a water heater closet door over there on the other side of the cleat wall, and then I've got a small storage room here. I'm not even brave enough to open that up and show you in there. It's everything that's not woodworking related. I've crammed it in there, so I'm not even sure you can step in it very much. But so I did decide to do French cleats a while back, and instead of doing pegboard, I just had a lot of stuff sagging and heavy things falling, so I went with French cleats. I did a little section here, a little section on the other wall, you'll see in a second, and then this area over here is going to get the cleats as well. So I do have a spot open here. Possibly we'll put the sign for the channel in that place if we decide that this is the backdrop for a lot of the talking head filming. I haven't decided that yet either, but I am reserving that in case we do it there. Over in this corner here, as you can see, there's a lot of lime green, and I know everybody's got an opinion on Ryobi versus the other nicer brands, but I tell you, I haven't had any issues with Ryobi in terms of the hand tools. Now, I've also got the Ryobi lawnmower, and I've also got a weed eater and a backpack blower. Backpack blower, weed eater have been good. Lawnmower, not so great. But the hand tools have been fantastic. I already had some prior to the woodworking journey, and so I just stuck with those for now. They've been great, no problems. But this whole area, I want to put more cleats on and tidy all this up. This was where the workbench was at originally. It was shoved into this corner, and so I just had miscellaneous things nailed up here. I want to straighten all this up, build some actual nicer holders for the drills, some stations and things like that. So that's going to be an upcoming project as well. Now over here I do have a 1984 Sterling lathe. Sterling means Sears. They made a lot of stuff under different brands. But I got this from my father-in-law who passed away last year, along with some other things in the shop. And so I haven't got to play with it yet. I just haven't got the time. But I want it to be an important part of my woodworking business moving forward. I want to be able to use it to make legs for tables and various other projects and things that I sell at markets and fairs, along with custom pieces. So one of the videos, we're going to get this cleaned up, and I'm going to learn how to use a lathe. I've never done that before. I don't know if it's going to stay here. It did come with a stand that's kind of wobbly, a little old. So we're either going to leave it here and turn this whole area into the lathe station, put all the tools and everything up there for it, or we're going to redo the stand and make it more sturdy and build it up a little nicer. And we'll move the lathe on the other side of the room over here. So I haven't decided that yet either. But anyways, this whole corner is going to get cleaned up and look a little more organized, a little more uniform, and have a little more purpose to it. For my router table, I've got the Skill. Now I know, budget friendly, it's nothing fancy, but it's worked for what I've needed so far. I do have it on a stand like I do several of my tools. And I do have a drawer. It's packed full of various bits and extra routers and things. It's really too crowded and I need a little bit more room. Now you'll notice that around the shop as we go around, everything's on a table similar to this. Some have storage, some don't. But that's something I definitely want to upgrade moving forward, is making them a little nicer and a little more functional. Now, I've got more French cleats on this wall, and I've been using this, well, I change this around all the time. Let's face it, no point in acting like it's organized. It gets changed around a lot, but for now I use it for some of my clamps. And yeah, I know, that doesn't look like a lot of clamps. But for what I've done this far to this point, that's been more than enough. Again, budget friendly. No need to buy more than what I've needed so far. Hopefully I'll need more in the future though. We also have our just glue storage, things like that. Sanding storage with the sanders, sandpaper, and then different things get tossed up and down there. That's why it's got plenty of empty spaces on it. Now this front corner of the shop is basically set up to be the milling area, breakdown, processing, if you will. And so I did this on purpose. I don't know if it's the most efficient layout, but I kind of thought putting it all together would work out well. So far it's been okay. As my business gets busier and I change up the things that I necessarily make, I may end up rearranging this some. But for now, I do have the DeWalt miter saw. Now this particular model, I didn't get the laser line or the shadow line on it, or a light. And so those are all kits that you can upgrade to it, and I think I'll be doing that in the near future. I also currently just use the job site stand for it. Now, it's a great stand. I absolutely love the stand. But when I've got to do repeated cuts, I've got to use a stop block, clamp it to the top. It's kind of a pain. So in the very near future on build, we'll do a video out of it. I'm going to put wings on this thing, so at least we'll have a sliding stop block system with measurement. It'll just make it easier, quicker, and more repeatable. Now, I thought about doing a miter station, but we're only going to be here another 3, maybe 3.5 years. And so I don't want to build anything permanent to the wall and that large just yet. I'll do that at some point in the future when I get a shop that's going to be where I stay forever. On the corner up there, like I said, small shop, garage shop. You put stuff wherever you can get it. I've got a juice screw jig for when I do cutting boards that have the juice screws. I've also got my straight edge jig for the table saw. Now, over on the other side of the kind of milling area or processing area, I've got Bauer 6-inch jointer and the Hercules planer. Yep, Harbor Freight. When I was needing them to try them out and to experiment on some stuff, I didn't have one. They were on sale, budget-friendly price. And to this point, they both work just fine for what I'm doing. Now again, it's one of those things. If your business grows or things change, you may need to upgrade, get larger sizes or things like that. But at this point so far in my journey, these have been absolutely perfect for me. You can also see I've got the Harbor Freight central machinery dust collector system. It's okay. It also needs some improvements. I'd love to have the canister instead of the bag up top. Thus far though, like I said, haven't had a need for it too much, but for the sake of my lungs moving forward, that's going to be an upgrade that happens. Now also in this milling or processing area of my shop, I've got my rigid 6-inch bandsaw. Now this was another thing I inherited from my father-in-law. And so when I got this, the table was rusty. The switch was hanging off. The thing was rough. I had to order a few parts for it and get it back into working condition. And yeah, are there times when I would love to have much more area to work with? Of course. But again, so far for what I've been doing, this thing's worked out just fine. It's done what I needed it to do. And at some point, maybe there's an upgrade in the future. But unless there's a need for it, we're not going to do that. Now, as you can see, I'm standing in my wood storage area. Yeah, in it. I've got a lot of extra stuff. I've got barnwood, cedar slabs, oak slabs, all kinds of stuff. And as you can see, I've got a lot of scraps, from fine hardwoods to plywood to pieces of fence pickets. Way too much. I've also got wood storage and barn wood up on shelves on the other side of the garage. Well, on both other walls of the garage. But this is definitely something I want to tackle, get this more organized, come up with a better system, and get rid of the stuff that's really unusable, because there's probably a whole tub of that. Now, one of the reasons I want to do this is I'm going to move this metal shelf here over here to my right, because where that's at is where my laser engraver is going to go. I just recently bought one. I haven't even used it yet, and I've never used one, but I thought it'd be pretty cool to be able to customize and personalize things for people after I get it built. That's a request I had a lot this past year, and I wasn't able to take care of it for them, so I wanted to be able to do that. So as you can see, guys, it's just a garage, but it's my shop, and it's helped me to be creative, do some things I enjoy, and make some money as well. And it's going to progress and become a full-time business as we go forward over this next year. Now, we've got some cool projects coming up, like we discussed. We've got the miter saw wings, improvements to the main shop table, definitely tackling that wood storage, and fixing up the lathe stand or the lathe station. We've also got some cool client builds coming up. We've got a fireplace mantle. We've got a dough bowl made out of a big chunk of pecan that we're going to power carve. That'll be neat. And then we've also, well, it's not a client build. My wife wants a new coffee table, but we're going to make it out of old barnwood that we've got from her family's 107-year-old century farm. That's going to be pretty sweet. Guys, if you're into building stuff, if you're into randomness, and if you're into faith-based content, mostly geared towards men, but friendly for all, then please like and subscribe. Check us out. Up here you can see the last build we did, which was a planter for my mother-in-law. And over here is our very first video that just kind of explains the channel and what you can expect going forward. We'll talk to you soon.